I'm the new County Councillor and Cabinet Member for Community Safety, which includes Fire and Rescue. Been a member of the authority since 2005, but this is my first Cabinet role, but also been a District Councillor for some 22 years at Warwick District, and I represent the rural area which goes from Bishop's Tatchbrook right round to the Solihull boundary at Lapworth. I think at the moment we're in some difficult times for local government, and my role in this portfolio in regards to fire and rescue is to see that we deliver a safe and sound, good fire and rescue service for our residents, but also ensure the long-term future of the service and our staff. So part of the same process is to look at a possible collaboration with Hereford and Worcester Fire Service, because we have financial considerations, as I've said, and also it's a question of scale and reliability and resilience. We are a rural fire service as well as urban in Warwickshire. Hereford and Worcester are similar, and I believe that is the right way to go forward.
It's very difficult. The County Council as a whole has a budget of about £350 million, and over the next 4 years that is set to reduce by between about 90 and £110 million. That's as a consequence of a couple of things, partly inflation, pay rises, or the reduction, particularly the reduction in the government grant that the County Council receives. The Fire and Rescue Service budget is around 19 million, and we will be expected, undoubtedly be expected by the County Council to make some reduction in our own budget in order that the County Council can overcome its budget deficit. We have 3 areas that we believe we can contribute to that. The first one is in relation to a potential merger with Hereford and Worcester Fire and Rescue Service. The second is around the ways that we could reconfigure or reshape, particularly the whole-time service, and how we can, perhaps with a reduced establishment, actually improve fire cover and particularly deal with the shortfalls in retain pump availability that we have during the working day, almost every day of the week now. And the third area is what I would call reducing the service down to what really is the statutory minimum, by looking at what we do and what we are expected to do in order to comply with the law, particularly the Fire and Rescue Services Act, as opposed to what we might professionally choose to do or what the public might expect us to do day to day. No, it's not. It's an appropriate time because of the budget issues, but I genuinely believe that 5 years ago it was right to be considering a merger between Hereford and Worcester and Warwickshire. I think it's the right thing now, and equally I think it would be the right thing in 5 years, even if by then the financial situation is much improved. I really do think that we can look at the most optimum size and shape for the Fire and Rescue Service for the area, not being constrained by the political boundary, which to date has always been the way in which fire services around the country have been structured, and look at what really is optimum. No, it's certainly not decided. What's been decided so far is that the Cabinet of Warwickshire County Council agreed a couple of weeks ago to restart the project that they placed on hold in 2009. What we now intend to do is, over the coming months, is to form a project team to look very carefully at the benefits to such a merger. It would have to work on, I think for me, on 3 levels. It would have to be operationally right. Would we make a credible and a more viable fire service across Herefordshire, Worcestershire and Warwickshire by combining the brigades together? It would also have to work from a political point of view. This would mean forming a new fire authority with different constitutional arrangements, and the politicians will be very, very keen to see that they're appropriate. And thirdly, and probably most importantly, it would have to work from a financial point of view. The overall effect of the fire service on the residents that pay council tax, it would have to pass that test very, very clearly. And until we've assessed the feasibility from those 3 areas, there will be no decision to proceed further at this time. In the short term, it will mean nothing at all. We are at least a couple of years away from any actual merging of the 2 fire services. It would certainly affect people like me much more significantly than it would, say, a firefighter on a fire station. We would, in time, if a merger was agreed, we would certainly be looking at how we converge things like brigade control or training departments or some of the other key support roles for the fire service. And yes, in due course, that would invariably have an effect on the numbers of people in those posts, where they're located, and who does those jobs. But we're a couple of years away from that position.
Well, what this means is it's a significant change to the fire rescue service as we meet the challenges ahead. £2.3 million could result in the loss of up to 39 whole-time firefighter posts and 36 RDS posts, and £3.5 million could result in the loss of 59 whole-time posts and 36 RDS posts. So that's a significant difference to what we've got now. Well, what this will mean is that we'll have to redesign our service in order to improve what it is we do, certainly our vehicle availability, firefighter availability, whilst at the same time saving money. We don't know what the shift patterns will look like, but clearly we need to design a service and design a shift pattern to meet the service that actually puts people on duty when we need them most. Now, it doesn't mean the end of all-time shift patterns, but they may look completely different to what we're working at the moment, and firefighters being available when we need them most is a key objective of this. As I've said before, redesigning the service and improving what it is we do while saving money is key priority in all of this work. Well, we've presented 3 options to members, and in terms of the overall decisions, nothing has actually been decided. The County Council is now going through a period of consultation through the Let's Talk and Shaping the Future, and we'll see what the outcome of that is, but no decisions have yet been made. But clearly we'll have to work up these options over the next few months, and we'll try to keep our staff updated what they might look like.
I'm here in our new fire control room in Leamington Spa. This represents over 3 years worth of work and £2.5 million worth of investment to improve the infrastructure of communications technology for receiving 999 calls, mobilising fire crews and managing the entirety of the command and control of operational incidents. The fundamentals of this are the new Cllr system, which receives and logs 999 calls and is the method that we use to take telephone calls and radio messages. The new Fortec Vision 4 system then is the mobilising system that contains all the mapping references for the service and risk information. All fire stations have received new mobilising systems with emergency power backup systems. So everything within the service, from the receipt of the 999 call to the mobilising of fire crews, all of the technology has been replaced in its entirety. We'll be seeing in the new year new mobile data terminals being installed on the fire appliances and satellite navigation systems. So as I say, everything to do with receiving 999 calls and mobilising fire engines to operational incidents has been upgraded in its entirety. The next part of the programme then is the partnership with Northamptonshire Fire Rescue Service, where we link the 2 fire controls together. This gives us added resilience. This means that if our fire control goes into spate conditions or has a busy operational incident to deal with, we have the backup of Northamptonshire Fire Rescue Service, and vice versa, of course. In the past, both services had standby fire controls. This won't be necessary in future because we will provide each other's backup. The new control room has been funded by a government grant of £1.8 million. All fire services around the country were able to bid for a central pot of money, and that funding has been used to upgrade this particular control room. In addition, the County Council actually provided a further £800,000. The overall cost of the project being £2.6 million. Some of the infrastructure in the old control room was decades old, literally from the mid-80s. The new infrastructure uses the latest digital technology. Will enable automatic vehicle location systems to be used, for instance, and will also enable fire crews to respond using data mobilising rather than using voice-activated messages to book in attendance at mobile to incidents. This will be very much push button to book in attendance. Well, this is our 24/7 control hub for the entire service. The fire control room manages our 999 system and all our mobiliser systems, but they also have an overview of our staffing system through the new Gartan system. They have the overview of water supplies through the Aquarius system, and they also manage all of our risk information through the premises risk information system. So within this control room, we have many systems, and the highly professional control operators that we have in this room keep an overview of all those systems for the 24-hour service that we operate. We've had a project team that's been working very closely with our colleagues in Northamptonshire to produce a mirrored control room in both counties. But I've got to pay credit really to the control room operators here in Warwickshire who have worked for the last 2 or 3 years in effectively what has been a building site in some respects whilst we've been moving from the old room to the new room, but also in integrating the new systems, updating the new data, because the new systems require a huge amount of more data and more accurate data. This has placed a great burden on the control teams. They've been working additional hours, weekends, evenings, and they've done a really great effort to bring us to where we are today.